Hey Nyla, it's Miss Leyendecker, and I wanted to go over your study tips with you. So the first thing I want you to do is prepare yourself to take the exam over. So if you could go to the announcements page and find these little boxes. You're going to check on obviously semester 2 exam review, but if you click on that, it's going to open up a document with all kinds of helpful information. So just go to the announcements page. You can either click on the blue announcements button or go to the menu up top and select announcements. Find these little boxes and click on it to open. It's going to ask you to open a document, so go ahead and just open it, and then let's see what will be inside. So in that document, there will be a lot of information for you to review. Go ahead and look it over, familiarize yourself with the material, and then I really want you to print it and have it with you when you take the final. It's really okay to have notes during this exam because there's really no way for you to use those notes in a bad way, so feel free to print that out and have it with you. Also, if you can have either a dictionary, a physical book, or a phone with you, go ahead and do that so you can look up difficult words during the exam. You don't want to open any other tabs during the exam, so having your phone or having a dictionary will definitely help. Now, specifically for you, when I went over your exam, what I found was that you missed most of the reading questions were about mood and tone. So if you look over that review that we just talked about, there are definitions and samples for you to look at mood and tone. Remember, tone is the author's attitude. Do they sound happy? Do they sound sad? Those are basics. Or do they sound regretful? Do they sound pessimistic? Obviously, those are a little bit more advanced. So we're going to look for words that point out the author's attitude. And mood is not the author's attitude, but mood has to deal with the reader, and that's the way that you feel. So we'll look for words that they included to sort of create a mood for you, the reader. So go over in the review and make sure you look closely at mood and tone. Additionally, this link has some really good practice questions. When you get to the end of the video, go ahead, just rewind and pause on this screen so that you can copy down this link and then go do some practice questions. Okay, and then one other thing that I really want you to work on is writing a superb essay answer. That helps your grade tremendously. Essays are worth up to about 10 points, which is the same as 2.5 questions. And a lot of times you get 2 essays, which is 5 questions and 20 points. So we really want to work on those essays. And this is a trick that I used when I was in school, and I think it'll help you too. It's called making your writing meaty. And I know that sounds kind of funny, but we're going to go over what it means. So basically, MEAT is an acronym, and it stands for the different ways or the different order that we should answer these types of questions. So the M stands for make your restatement. The E stands for explain it clearly. A stands for answer using evidence, and then T stands for tie it all together. So we have MEAT. Let's go over each one of the steps. Okay, so for make a restatement, this starts off your essay the proper way. Here's a question, and this is pulled from one of your quizzes. It says, what word, that should say word. My mistake, it says, what word does President Kennedy seek to redefine in the introduction of his speech and why? Okay, so when I make a restatement, I'm just going to take the question and restate it in a sentence. So I'm going to say President Kennedy seeks to redefine the word freedom in his introduction. So what I've done here is I've just taken this answer and instead of a question, I've taken the question. Instead of just blurting something out, I've formed it into a proper sentence. Okay, and that's called restating. So make a restatement. If you see, I've also given the answer here, and then I'll help move me into my next step. Explain it clearly. So I've restated my answer, and then to explain it clearly, I'm going to add another sentence. I'm going to say, President Kennedy tells the audience that although our nation was founded on freedom, that is not the way we treat all of our citizens, especially African Americans. So I've given my answer, and now I'm going to explain it clearly. I've got my subject, I explain what my subject does. President Kennedy is my subject. I explain what he tells the audience, and I make sure that I make my answer obvious. So after I've explained it clearly, I need to tell the person reading my essay how I know. I can't just say that and not have any evidence. So for that, I'm going to go back to the text, and I'm going to pull out a quote from the text that helps back up my idea. So I'm going to go back to the passage and find something that supports my idea. How did I figure that out? And then I'm going to tell my reader, this is how I figured it out. I said, in the passage, he states, their heirs, their grandsons are not fully free and will not be free until we lift the bonds of injustice. Now, one thing I want you to pay attention to here, it says in the passage, so it's important that you include that little intro. And then also we put it inside quotation marks, so I know that's where it came from. I've got my own words here, and then President Kennedy's words are in quotation marks. I've included this little intro to let you know. Make sure you follow those steps and answer with evidence. And then the last thing we're going to do is tie it all together. So I'm going to have one conclusion sentence that explains everything I just went over. Okay, President Kennedy wanted his listeners to know that we need to redefine the word freedom because we are not upholding the true definition. That's my conclusion of my M, my E, and my A in my meats. Now I've tied it all together. Put it all together, and what do you have? You've got meat in your writing. Here's all 4 of my sentences put together, and what I love about this example is I've got a restated question. The person who restated it gave me their answer, they backed it up with evidence, and they gave me a conclusion sentence. So just remember, MEAT. If you want to go back to that slide at the end of the video and take a little picture with your phone or write down what that acronym stands for on your review sheet, that will really, really help you. And every time you get asked an essay question on the exam, I want you to practice that MEAT. Okay, so don't forget, I am cheering for you. I know you can do it, and I know you're going to pass this exam. Call or text me if you have any questions. Bye-bye.